Hi, welcome to our video here. I'm Jordan Bradford, a Senior Financial Advisor with Burkholder Wealth Management, and I'm here today with our CEO and founder, Eric Burkholder, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about I-bonds.
Yep.
So I'm going to let Eric get us kicked off here with, the first question is, what is an I-bond?
Yeah, so a lot of people are probably hearing about I-bonds right now, but you might not know what that is or why you're hearing about them. So an I-bond simply is a government savings bond. There's several different types and varieties, but an I-bond or an inflation bond is a savings bond issued by the U.S. government that has interest rate tied to inflation. So that's the simplest explanation for it. But typically it's obviously a good inflation hedge, and they're in the news right now because they currently issued the highest inflation adjusted rate of all time.
Awesome.
So pretty significant event.
Yeah, and that sounds like good news, right?
If you own I-bond, that is good news.
So speaking of owning an I-bond, let's say I've got some money lying around. How do I go about purchasing one of those?
Yep.
And what's the maximum amount I'm allowed to buy?
Yep, good question. So you're going to want to buy them straight from the government. So treasurydirect.gov is a way to buy it electronically. You can buy it electronically and you can buy paper form. Electronically, you can buy up to $10,000 a year per person. So if you're married, you could get up to $20,000 in there electronically. Now, there's one kind of backdoor way to get another $5,000 in, and that's through your tax return. So you can get $10,000 electronically, and then you can get another $5,000 through paper form, but you have to use your tax refund to buy it. So, we typically don't recommend people being on track for large refunds, but if you find that yourself in that situation, that could be an opportunity to buy up to $15,000 total per year. But you can buy more each year, so that's just the annual limit.
Awesome. Yeah, and with tax season just having finished up here, there may be a handful of folks who have a tax refund that they're looking to do something with.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
That's some valuable information. And in terms of being able to purchase one of these right now while rates are so high with an I-bond, what's the time frame that someone has to do that? Do they need to do this right now, or do they have some weeks or months to make this decision? Yeah,
so you can buy an I-bond at any time, but there are some set dates that interest rates are set, that new interest rate. So if you buy an I-bond right now, the new interest rate just went into effect in May. Okay, so you will lock that rate in for the next 6 months, regardless of when the rates. So the rate will. Let me rewind. The rate resets every 6 months, but if it's 1 month away from resetting, you can still lock in that rate for another 6 months. When you buy it, it will not reset till 6 months out. So I would say right now, since the rate just adjusted higher, anytime between now and the next 6 months, you're going to be able to get that. The rate's 9.62% currently. You can lock that in for 6 months. And so it will continue to reset as inflation changes, and so there is a potential it could go down in the future. But given where the current market is trending as far as inflation, it's probably going to pay a healthy rate of return for a period of time.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, 9.62%. I don't know about you, but the last time I looked at my savings statements at the end of the year, it seems like I'm earning pennies. So 9.62 is a welcome reprieve, especially with inflation the way it's at.
Yeah, you've got to do something to try to battle that high inflation, and an I-bond is a great way to do that.
Yeah, and so tell us a little bit about, let's say we go out there and we purchase an I-bond. How long do we have to hold one of these for?
Yeah. So, and that's one thing we do caveat with. It's not a true cash replacement. You need to hold it for at least a year, and if you sell it or redeem it within 5 years, you'll lose 3 months of interest. Okay. So, but to think about that, and this is why we're kind of phrasing it as emergency plus money, right? So you want to have your emergency fund, but if you have kind of that in between that you want to leave in something more secure, but you have a little bit more flexibility as far as leaving it untouched for a period of time, an I-bond is a great fit, because say you held it for a year and you lose 3 months interest, well, you're still getting over 6% interest for
Yeah.
a year. And so, but then if you hold it for 5 years, at that point, you will get the full interest. You won't give up 3 months interest when you redeem it. And an I-bond actually will last for 30 years. So you could hold an I-bond for 30 years. And if inflation stays high, and then there's another component of that, which is interest rates we haven't talked about yet, but depending on when you bought that bond, it can continue to pay a healthy rate of return for a long period of time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything else we need to know about I-bonds before we consult our financial professionals, of course?
Yeah, I think it still is important that it's got to fit into your plan, and then kind of understanding how those interest rates work and how that reset works. So I touched on this, but the fixed, there's 2 parts. There's an inflation adjusted component, which is the highest ever right now, and there's a fixed component, which is almost as low as it's ever been. And so you may not want to rush to put all your money into an I-bond right now. It should still just be a piece of your portfolio because eventually inflation will adjust, and at some point that 9.62 might go back to something very minimal. So it all has to fit into your plan when we look at your entire picture, but it is a good fit to your plan, I think. And another caveat is sometimes people think, well, $10,000 is not worth it. I would encourage you not to think that way, because every little piece counts, and there's no one solution. It's all about just doing things a little bit better, just like compound interest. We want to get a little better over time, and $10,000 a year can really add up. And so think about it, make sure it fits within your plan, talk with your advisor. But it is a really good option right now for those that need something that will earn enough to keep up with inflation, but maybe not ready to put that into the market.
Right. Yeah, I love what you said about it. Emergency plus. It's not for your emergency fund money, but it's also not necessarily long-term growth money either. There's that intermediate bucket there,
Right.
that's for money that we want to set aside for maybe something that's 4 or 5 years down the road, but we don't want it to be too volatile, and we still want to have it earn some interest. And it's hard to beat 9.62% on anything right now. I would say, I agree. Take advantage of that, and make it part of the overall portfolio. I think that's
Absolutely.
the number one takeaway I had from this.
Yep, absolutely. So if any of you out there have any questions about how it fits for you, give us a call, contact Jordan or myself, and we're happy to lead you through, how we're implementing it for clients and how it could be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. We'll talk to you guys later.